stay like this?
No.
I feel like I missed something.
No, no, no.
So, we're still in Italy and I still haven't taken out the R5 for photography yet. I've shot a lot of video the past week, but I'm yet to shoot portraits on the new Canon EOS R5. So, today we don't only have one model, we have two Italian girls. Right there, we got Elisabetta and Lavinia. And I think they're the youngest models on our YouTube channel so far. And we're just taking a walk. It'll probably take us around an hour and there are a couple cool locations. So I'll take you with us as always. Let's go. Okay. So as for lenses, I always take my 28 to 70 2.0 because this is probably my favorite lens of all time. And now he f***ed up our shot. Go, andiamo. Andiamo. Molto bene. Alright, so as for lenses, I'm always taking my 28 to 70 2.0 because this is my favorite lens of all time. But today I actually thought of changing it up and trying the RF 70 to 200 for the first time. So far I've only shot these girls on the ice before when they were doing figure skating, but now I think it's actually an amazing photography lens for portraits as well. So let's test this out. Let's test this out too. Pretty much like I'm sitting here. Alright. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Why's my camera turned off now? Chin up a little more. Yes, like this. Alright, let me look at the pictures real quick.
This one?
But also like these.
Yes.
I think that's actually really nice.
Oh, I love this one.
That's
oh my
cool,
God.
right? So maybe.
Maybe not the face, but you know,
Yeah, that's what I said. Like
I'm
the
used
pose
to the
is
face.
great,
Questa bella.
but there's actually pretty cool ones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually cool.
I love it.
All right.
I love the yellow bridge actually.
I like her. She's weird.
We all are.
A little uncomfortable. Maybe lean down more. On. Take that pose. No kidding. No, do exactly that pose. That actually will. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Like this. Exactly. I need to get you centered. So Ellie's making her first outfit change, and unfortunately we just lost all the sunlight, but that is pretty typical for this area because we're in a really tall valley, and before we start golden hour or even blue hour, the sun just hides behind all the mountains. So we have to make do with what we have. But this region is probably one of the biggest export regions for apples. So we wanted to incorporate this into our photo shoot, and we're going to take some pictures right here. Hair out of your face. Yeah, exactly. Ones before are really cool. And smile. Lavinia, make her laugh. Yes. Alright.
La mordo?
Sì, certo, ma sì.
Porca.
Maya. Con la foglia.
Also the tree. Una mela Melinda, sempre alla moda, non so.
Così
Non so.
rende la vita
Un po' più
gioiosa.
I like that. Now look like where Bella is standing, like above her head. Yes, something like this. And they like this. And now look at Bella again. Or maybe like look into the nowhere somewhere. Not as much.
It looks good.
Yeah, I like it. Don't look into the camera this time. And now the other way around. Yes.
But then they put it
So get more light.
Something
Can you do both on the?
apple
Yeah,
taste
yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, that's
so cool.
I'm just
cool. So I really like these.
Wow. Sì. Certo che cosa Eugenito fa proprio scena. Così è meglio. Sì. Sì. Così. Sì. Oh, I love this one.
Yeah, that's really nice. Perfetto. Just like this. Then up, up. Yeah, and then actually like this. Like you go and then you turn, and then you look towards me.
like this. Yes, girl.
My bad.
Yeah. Better. So the light is better like that. Anyway, so the light left us quickly, so now it's pitch dark and we're just walking home, but I think I got some banger shots, and I will talk to you more about my first impression of the EOS R5 when I'm back in Vienna in the studio. Back home, back in the studio, and I thought that I'd give you my first impression of what it's like working with the EOS R5 when it comes to portrait photography. And spoiler alert, I think this is the best camera when it comes to photography that I have ever used. I've been shooting portraits for about 15 years now, and I've owned tons of different cameras. And I've also used a lot of cameras with a high megapixel count, although the EOS R5 is the first camera that I personally own that has more than 32 megapixels. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think too much about megapixels in the past because I shot billboards about 10 years ago on cameras that didn't have any more than 20 megapixels. But now seeing the level of detail you can achieve with the 45 megapixel sensor of the EOS R5 is absolutely stunning. Take this shot of the drone, for example, I just took. And at first it just looks like any other picture, right? But if you zoom in to 400%, you can actually read the Hasselblad on the lens, which is completely amazing. And that opens up so many possibilities when it comes to cropping or even post-production, when you really want to go in and manipulate your image in Photoshop and you have that many more pixels to work with. So that is definitely something that I'm looking forward to doing more in the future. I already talked about the lenses that I used, and the 28-70 as well as the 70-200 are great choices when it comes to portrait photography. I like having a more versatile setup that I can quickly change my angles from wide to mid to close up and not having to switch lenses all the time, especially when out in the field. When it comes to a controlled environment like a studio shoot, that is a different topic, but when it comes to just walking around with your equipment somewhere in the wild, I just rather have zoom lenses, and I think the quality coming out of these two is absolutely amazing. The one thing that I probably enjoyed the most about shooting on the EOS R5 is its amazing autofocus system. You can totally rely on the autofocus when it comes to eye autofocus detection, and you can just focus on composing your shot and don't have to worry about setting focus fields or worry about your shot not being in focus. I was playing around just shooting the drone when Belle was rising it up in the air, and I didn't have a single missed shot, and that is pretty amazing for a small moving target. And I can confirm the same thing shooting on the EOS R6 when we did a lot of sports photography, which has the same autofocus system. The eye autofocus detection, even with moving subjects, is totally great, and especially for portraits, now you really don't have to worry about any kind of focus situation when you're just shooting portraits. As for the editing process, as always, I used our preset packs that you can also purchase on our website. And I think the hipster look that I gave the images with a little bit of grain really complemented the location well. And for all of you wondering, to save a little bit on hard drive storage, I shot everything in C-RAW instead of regular RAW, because I did a little bit of digging before, and basically everyone comes to the conclusion that there's hardly any difference between the compressed RAW and the actual RAW. So I just wanted to save a little bit space, and still the images are really high quality, but they're also really big in file sizes. The average file is probably around 45 megapixels, and then when going through a basic retouching process, those actually went up to about 4 gigabytes in Photoshop, and even my new iMac 2020 was sometimes struggling with my just predefined actions when it comes to my retouching process. I will also upload these images to my Instagram account at monkeypixels, where I will also do a lot more behind the scenes content in my stories evolving around the EOS R5 and R6. So if you're curious about that, make sure to follow me on Instagram as well. Initially I thought I was walking around for an hour with the girls, but it ended up being around 3 hours. We shot for a total of 2 hours, and I didn't turn off the camera once. And for all of you wondering what about the video capabilities, after finishing shooting after about 2 hours without turning the camera off, I switched to 4K 50 mode, and I still had about 20 minutes to record onto my CF Express card. So the overheating issue that was apparently there with the 1.0 firmware in the beginning, where you couldn't really switch to any high quality video shooting modes even after just taking pictures, apparently has been resolved so far, so that is really a good thing to know as well. And the last thing to note is the battery life, and as we all know from Canon cameras, the battery life is pretty amazing. So even after shooting for 2 to 3 hours, I still had more than 50% left on my one battery, so that is nothing to worry about when being out in the field and shooting portraits with the EOS R5. And for all of you video shooters out there, if you're curious, Belle shot the entire behind the scenes on her EOS R6, so this is what the video coming out of the R6 looks like, but I will also do a video on that in the near future. But next up, I will be doing a review of the EOS R6 for sports photography, because I've been using this the past week in Italy a lot. And if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also give this video a like if you like that kind of behind the scenes, and I hope to see you on the next one.